fáilte mór ro chun an teach starúil seo. Welcome, friends, again to the historic Mansion House, to the home of an céad Dáil Éireann, which met in this very place on this very date 101 years ago. Welcome especially to all our candidates who are standing in this general election, standing for Sinn Féin, standing for your communities, and standing for the people. It's doubly appropriate that we gather here today because exactly 100 years ago, in January 1920, Irish Republicans were celebrating the victory of Sinn Féin in local elections across Ireland. Those candidates of 1920 were pledged to implement the democratic programme of the first Dáil. And as you know, that programme affirmed the right of the people of Ireland to the ownership of Ireland. It established a Republican government based on the principles of liberty, equality and justice for all. And it's in that same spirit that we come here together today. Because Sinn Féin in 2020 is about finishing the work started here 101 years ago. The Ireland envisaged by those who sat in the first Dáil Éireann is certainly not the Ireland that we have today. This state, on this partitioned island, was not built on the principles of the democratic programme first presented in this House. So is it any wonder then that the two parties who have dominated this state for decades could not bear to even utter the words Sinn Féin when they commemorated the first Dáil last year? Is it any wonder that the outgoing government have sat in this room last year, planned this year to commemorate the very Crown forces that banned and persecuted the first Dáil and terrorised the people of Ireland? So can I say a míle buíochas to the Irish people who gave Charlie Flanagan and Fine Gael their answer. It's no wonder either that the political establishment is embarrassed by our nation's revolutionary past. Why? Well, because decades of merry-go-round Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael governments have seen the ordinary Irish people being left behind again and again and again. At times of economic prosperity, at times of recession, and during times of recovery, the story for workers and families has remained the same. Under Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, those at the top are protected. They prosper in good times and in bad. Ní hé an chorus sin an phoblacht a bunaíoch an sa. Ní hé sin an chlór ibre dénthach a ghlacha ag na teachta dála poblachtánachta. The landlords, the banks, the vulture funds and the insurance companies always find themselves at the top of the queue. Workers, families, those who do the heavy lifting in Irish society are told to wait at the back for a break that never comes. So Sinn Féin wants to end this cycle. We want to transform Irish politics and we want to change our country because we know the people deserve better. The people deserve and need a government that acts in the interests of citizens, not in the interests of golden circles. The fact is that workers and families have never had a party in government that is serious about delivering for them. The establishment knows that Sinn Féin is serious. That's why they try to squeeze us out of this election, because they want to portray this contest as a two-horse race. Punch and Judy, the Leo and Micheál show, the only show in town. But when I look across the room today, I see the best answer that we can give them. That answer is our candidates and above all our activists. Talented, decent people. People who stand up for others. People who work hard every day for those that we represent. Sinn Féin is running 42 candidates in 38 constituencies. Candidates who refuse to tolerate an Ireland where inequality is acceptable. Candidates who refuse to sit back and do nothing in an Ireland where poverty is standard. Candidates who refuse to be silent in an Ireland where racism and sexism so often go unchallenged. So we bring our message of hope, our message of solutions, our message of equality to the people. Sinn Féiners, you see, get out of bed every day with the motivation to rock the system, to shake things up, to be the living embodiment of radical change. And I think that's an inspirational thing. To open the door and face the day every day and say, I will look beyond my own circumstances, I will look to the greater good. That's admirable. I believe that's honourable. And I think that the patriots who met here in this place 101 years ago today would be proud that their struggle lives on. Despite our party being the most vibrant force for positive change in Ireland, RTE and Virgin Media, as Pearse has said, have excluded us from the main debates. Similarly, Micheál Martin, Leo Varadkar and Brendan Howlin, if you don't mind, think that they can exclude us from government. These three wise men of failed government and broken promises still believe that they're going to have things all their own way. These three parties who are most responsible for our unprecedented crises in housing and health believe that they will decide who is fit for government. So here's a newsflash. For the leaders of Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and the Labour Party, it is the people at the ballot box who decide who can go into government, not you. Sinn Féin and those who vote for us, will not be frozen out of the democratic process. The voices of those who want change and a progressive alternative will be heard loud and clear, whether Leo and Micheál like it or not. The establishment has closed ranks, friends, but that doesn't mean that this election can't be a watershed. I actually believe that this election can be the one where the people say enough of the Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil overbearing dominance of politics in this state. Enough of governments that waste our time, waste our money and squandered our trust. Sinn Féin represents the alternative, a progressive Republican vision for our future. As the men and women of the first Dáil stood at the threshold of history, so too we have entered a decade that will define our nation for a century. The next 10 years present an opportunity to realise a future that is bright and prosperous for everybody. But that can only be if we have a government that is prepared to make the right decisions. So a vote for Sinn Féin is a vote for real change and a vote for real solutions. A vote for Sinn Féin is a vote for a new deal for workers and families in a new decade of hope. And if we are given the mandate by the people, we will seek to deliver a Republican programme for government. A programme for government built on common sense principles of equality and prosperity. Sinn Féin will tackle the housing crisis head on. No better man than Owen O'Brien. Sinn Féin will deliver the biggest public housing building programme that Ireland has ever seen, and we'll cut rents and freeze them for 3 years. We'll deliver more nurses and hospital beds into our health system. Sinn Féin will do what is needed to end the overcrowding crisis, and we will work to see the creation of an Irish National Health Service. No better woman than Louise O'Reilly. Sinn Féin will continue to scourge. No better man than Pearse Doherty. Sinn Féin will give families and workers a break. We'll put money back in people's pockets. We'll cut the cost of childcare, and we'll begin the process of moving childcare to a public service. That needs to be done. We will abolish the USC on the first €30,000 of income earned, giving relief to every worker and taking 1 million workers out of the USC entirely. That's low and middle income workers. And, as has already been said, Sinn Féin is the only party committed to bringing the state pension age back to 65 years. And can I acknowledge the work of our colleague John Brady from Wicklow in his work on this matter over the last years. It was Fianna Fáil and the Greens who pushed the hike in pension age, if you remember, and then it was Gael and Labour who put it into law. Finishing work at the age of 65 isn't early retirement, as Leo Varadkar would have it. The workers of Ireland on building sites, in factories, in retail, in schools and hospitals, working shifts, paying their way, providing for their families, could put him straight on that one. Indeed, it's a measure of how out of touch Fine Gael is that they can't, it seems, recognise real life and the real experiences and contribution of working people and their families. Meanwhile, Micheál Martin's Fianna Fáil is busy dodging this issue. Sure, there's no surprise there, because that's what the leader of Fianna Fáil has been doing on every important matter affecting the lives of ordinary people for the last 4 years. We will ensure that those who wish to retire at 65 can do so with their state pension. The spate of recent violent crime has sent shockwaves through our communities, not least in Drogheda and in County Louth and beyond. And the truth is that we have to take on these gangs. The truth is that we have to give An Garda Síochána the resources they need to do their job properly on all our behalves. Sinn Féin is committed to delivering record numbers of Gardaí onto our streets. But more than that, we're also committed to delivering modern sentencing guidelines, fully resourced courts, and community support to take on the drugs epidemic and misery across our communities. I stand before you as a determined and proud United Irelander, and Irish unity is the best idea for the future of our country. The story of Ireland for the next decade will be shaped by the path to unity and the fight against climate change, two seismic shifts which will create profound change in all of our lives. I believe that these changes can be positive, but only if we act now, only if we prepare now. Irish unity and a Green New Deal for Ireland must be at the centre of everything that we do. I want to commend David Cullinan for his work on climate justice on our behalf. The unification of our country and action on climate change can be the bedrock upon which we build a new, equal and prosperous Ireland. So let's have an All-Ireland Forum on Unity to plan for all aspects of reunification, including a referendum on unity by 2025. Let's also build a Green New Deal in which all of our thinking and all of our ingenuity and all of our effort is mobilised to win the race against climate change. Let's come together at the end of this decade and know that we acted at the right time to end the partition of our country and to transform our environment. Let us recall that what we did today at this time won a brighter and better tomorrow. Irish unity and a just transition should happen in tandem. Céad bliain ó shin theas an tír seo poblacht na hÉireann mar éis mlár don domhan, mar inspiró don phobal ar fud na cruinne a bhí ag stracailt ar son na Saoirse. Accordia, to people who are not yet convinced of voting for Sinn Féin, to those who might fall into the thinking of, sure, you're all the same, we simply say, give us a chance. The others have had theirs. They've had decades to make things better, and they've squandered those countless opportunities. Vote for Sinn Féin this time. Vote for us now in this election and judge us on how we perform and how we deliver. Let Gael and Fianna Fáil have yesterday. That's where they belong. Tomorrow belongs to all of us who want better. It belongs to all of us who want a new, equal and progressive Ireland, a united Ireland. And on election day, I'm asking everybody to show up for this Ireland, to vote for this Ireland, to vote for a future in which workers, families and communities come first. This is the future that Sinn Féin will deliver, north and south. This is what all of you will bring about as Sinn Féin TDs, MPs, MLAs, ministers, joined First Minister Michelle O'Neill, all of us active in our collective endeavour. 101 years ago, Irish revolutionaries gathered here with a shared dream and a common purpose: to break the connection with Britain and to establish a free Irish Republic. They believed that they could change the system. They knew then what we know now, that things can be different if you're prepared to stand up and make it happen. In this election, we remain the inheritors of the revolutionary vision of Markievicz, of McSweeney and Mellows. We know that patriotism isn't some abstract notion, but rather a passion born of deep commitment to the well-being of our people. James Connolly Heron, I spot you at the back of the hall. The great-grandson of James Connolly, great socialist patriot. I'm going to quote him now. Our leader, James Connolly, said it best: Ireland, as distinct from her people, is nothing to me. So in this campaign and beyond, be absolutely sure of this, that people are depending on us. And be sure of this also, that we will never, ever let them down. So we leave here today as candidates, as proud representatives of Sinn Féin and the Republican story as it nears to the chapter when we end partition. So vote all Sinn Féin a Chorja, an phoblacht abu.